You know, utility companies do not have to notify the county or anything, utility line like that.
Okay, I guess we'll come back in out of recess at 11:05. And we have agenda item number 10, Gary Martin, Commissioner Precinct 1, 11 a.m., pre-bid material vendor meeting. Gary, you want to take
All
over?
right, yeah, so, well, this is Cody from Ergon, was the only one that bothered to show up, I guess, so I had a little conversation with him before we started, and as I explained to you, you know, we're just looking for ways to modify or change, to be able to work with you guys to, if fuel goes up, we pay for it, if it comes down, well, we get some benefit out of it, so I don't know if you want to tell them what you told me a while ago, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so the only way I could probably see, for y'all is possibly do a general use price, right? Basically where y'all we'll give a bid for emulsion, because we don't have our own transport, all right? We rely on third-party transport, so we're in the same boat as y'all. As far as that goes, they went up on our pricing, just like they've gone up on y'all's as well, right? So we're at the mercy of the trucking company. So you can either, get a quote, just bid emulsion pricing on y'all's stuff, and then whenever it comes time for y'all to do the project, or whatever, a couple of weeks out, send for a price quote FOB, and then have your transport companies give a pricing at that time as well, versus getting everything set up throughout the year, you know, or quarterly, however y'all plan on doing it.
Is the trucking bid per mile, or is it bid per job, or how do they
Yes, sir.
price the
So
trucking?
The way that Ergon works is that your freight from us is gonna be so many cents per gallon. Right, added on, for example, say like if your CRS2P price is $3.40 a gallon, all right? And then your freight is gonna be dependent on how far the project is from the plant, which y'all aren't very far from Pleasanton, so you're looking at somewhere around an added 18 to 20 cents, somewhere per mile. All right, so then that price, delivered cost, if it was 18 cents, and your emulsion price is $3.40, it'd be $3.68. All right, so, or $3.58. So that's how our freight works, with us. And then, like I was telling Gary earlier, you know, whenever we're in our situation that we're in, we get kind of caught also. Because a lot of the counties that we bid are for a year contract, right? Or with possibilities of extending. Well, the freight rate is set on our end, you know, at, when we bid, just like our base asphalt prices are set, right? So like, take it, last year was a perfect example of how, for the most part, we got raked over the coals, because in August on some counties, when we were putting out bids, base asphalt prices were at $420 a ton. And then come February, March happened, right, where base asphalt prices shot up to, from a year ago, went up to $700 a ton. And we're locked in at that price for that time frame until, most of the time, most places tell us, well, only on, when it comes time to renew is when the bid went out. So a couple months before that, if there's any changes, we need to ask for increases then, right? So, so y'all, the counties and cities that had that bid, you know, were buying material at a much cheaper price.
Well, that's what brought this about. You know, last year we were in the two and a quarter a gallon on diesel fuel, and then it shot up to $5. So, we weren't wanting to lock a bid in at 12 months. Obviously, if the diesel went down after the elections, that,
There were already some.
and by the same token, where y'all would be protected too, where you weren't locked in at a year's time. So that's what we were trying to do, was kind of protect us and protect y'all too, but
The only way I can see around doing that to do, you know, is for y'all to have like a general use deal set up, all right, where your emulsion prices are this price, say $3.40 a gallon, all right? That's not really freight side of it is to try to find some transport companies like Trout or Cisco or STI, and get them to do a separate bid for y'all for X amount.
And that's why we tried to do the 3-month deal to see if it would work better for us and better for y'all too, to do it only 90 days at a time, but nobody seems to really like that option either. It's a lot of, I guess, a lot of trouble to do a 90-day bid.
My recommendation would be to just have, the general use deal set up, and then before you know you have a project, a month ahead of time, you know that y'all gonna go out and chip seal a road, or y'all gonna do some kind of rehab, and y'all gonna need some type of material, is to call and get a quote. Call me up, I'll shoot you a quote, and I have delivered price on it. Of course, you'd have to shoot me the location of the project also. But, and then that quote right there would be good for that project. And then you'll have on that current freight rates and current prices.
We were just trying to save some money, and it didn't,
Yeah.
hadn't worked quite as well as we had hoped for.
Right.
Well, but I guess my question is in what he's recommending, then how do we do, because I guess basically the bottom line is once we hit 50,000 in purchasing that material, then we have to have some kind of bid. So how do we, I guess, could we go maybe back to what he said a minute ago? We can,
You can bid out your emulsion prices, because
Right.
that's gonna be your main cost.
right,
That's gonna be your main pricing for your bid. It's gonna be your oil, right? Because it doesn't take very long for $3.40 a gallon to hit 50,000, especially when a transport holds 5,500 gallons, right? I mean, you're talking 2 trucks.
yeah, by the second load, yeah, you're there.
So, your freight costs are probably gonna be anywhere from $800 to $1,200, right? So that's gonna be your cheapest item, right? So I would go out for bids on your emulsion products, and then figure those as FOB pricing, because then you already have your cost in there, and you know pretty much about what that's gonna be, and then you just need to figure out what the freight's gonna be. And you can do that probably, when you know you're gonna be working the project. Send in for a quote.
Do you see the price of the emulsion changing much with the year?
Well, gotta hope it doesn't change like it did last year, right?
I mean, coming down or going up, either way?
Yeah, so everything that we're hearing right now just is a temporary, you know, decline in pricing because of how the strategic reserve has been pulled from so much, just to knock the gas prices down. He's gonna have to refill, all right, and that's gonna be refilled with higher prices than what was in it. So when you go back to refill those reserves, right, I bet you prices fly through the roof come March, April. Everything we're hearing, they're gonna go shoot back up top. Come summertime.
It's not good news.
Nope, that's not good news.
It's not.
Sir, do you mind telling us who you're with and who you are?
181 Materials,
Oh, okay.
we're a supply center, have our own trucking, so forth, local.
So would we want to bid, like he was saying, get the, do the CRS2 and stuff from Aragon at FOB price, and then the trucking would be,
Well, I mean, that's one of the options that we have is to have everybody just bid material price. And then can we get, but I guess if we exceed 50,000 on trucking, then technically we're
Well, the
supposed to bid that, right?
Yeah, but I think the problem that we talked about that we could foresee is a lot of our material companies already contract with your hauling companies. We don't think that we would get separate bids from your hauling companies, because they are already working hand in hand with
mean,
material vendors.
The
I mean, we
material
could be
is different
wrong.
than the emulsion. I see that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the material prices, I mean, they went up, but not, just the material. It was the trucking behind it
Right.
that was included in that
So
price.
could we do a bid just for material without hauling and then put a statement in our bid packet that states?
We
we're
used to
gonna-
do that.
We're gonna pay the diesel fuel charge at the rate plus
Well,
whatever.
but that's what we tried, and everybody said no. But I mean, what he's saying is, I can give you a price for the material, and then when we want it, we call him and he tells us what the truck is gonna be. But so my question is can we do that? Or you got a comment?
Yes, sir. In contracts we've written in the past, we've done a 4% kicker one way or another. If it goes over that 4%, we have to call and get permission, especially on the freight side. But that gives you a flexibility both ways.
See, they weren't included in the fuel surcharge
Mm-hmm.
that we tried to do, which, that's something similar that we tried to do. If it went up, we paid more. If it went down.
Fuel surcharge is almost equalizing what normal freight is right now.
And again, the $5 diesel is what brought all of this
Yes.
about. We were just trying to keep from locking ourselves in on a 12-month bid and the possibility of diesel maybe going down. It's gone down a little bit, but
Yeah.
not a lot, so.
No, we run our yard every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We just readjust, plus or minus what it is. We
You
don't
don't.
just make the money because we can make the money.
You gotta get it.
And we were trying to do it with a fuel surcharge, but most of the vendors didn't like that idea at all, so. I mean, the fuel surcharge would kind of protect everybody both ways. If it went up, we paid y'all more. If it goes down, we pay less, but so far, they haven't been interested in doing that.
They don't like bringing it back down. You know, no, like I said, we're in the same boat, as y'all are, as far as trucking goes. You know, we basically have the product we have, we're depending on what plant we're pulling out of. We have a few carriers that pull out of, like Pleasanton, y'all's main. You know, you have Trout, STI, Kitco. I know there's one or two more that haul out of that facility. Those are options that you can request bid for freight from them, independent from us, say, because I know contractors all the time, they, take Clark Construction or Hunter Industries or whatever, they don't use our trucking company, although we offer it, if they want, but they'll get a FOB price, and then they'll send their own trucker down to pick up material. Like I said, it's an option.
Why do you think we wouldn't get prices from trucking companies?
I guess, I would assume that if a trucking company is already in a contract or providing pricing to a material vendor, they wouldn't jeopardize that relationship by submitting a separate proposal to us, knowing that that vendor is getting a markup on the hauling and ruin that relationship with the vendor. I could totally be wrong. That's just my,
In Ergon, that doesn't happen.
But
Yeah,
when you,
because, I mean, the bottom line is probably the vendor, or a lot of them on the rock side, they've got a markup on that too. Well,
that-
some of them do and some of them
well,
don't.
like our
Some of 'em don't.
conversation with Colorado Materials, I'm wondering if would they even bid material only, because the way he made it sound like was that they couldn't separate the fuel.
Well, if I remember right, they gave us a price for the base. I don't remember what they had in the other slots. I mean, it's there in their yard, I mean,
Yeah.
or their facility, so,
Commissioner, what did you say? I wasn't here when, you mentioned that's how we used to do it.
We
but
still-
that was before my time.
material
so-
only.
Material
Used to
only.
get a bid price for just material only. If we wanted to go pick it up, we could go pick it up. Then you had a price for material and hauling to a county road, and then a price to the yard.
well, that's the way it's bid
I
now.
think that's the way we
But a lot
have
of them
it.
are not filling in that just base price of
Well,
material.
then they don't want to do it.
I think right now, the way that they can bid is your FOB, which would be just base cost, and then delivery to each of the precincts,
One lump sum.
Their company is delivering it. Unless we see like the tickets, or if y'all see the tickets coming in from the freight companies.
Yeah.
So that's,
See, and I think a lot of it depends. I mean, every job I did last year with Colorado Materials, we got whoever the trucking company of the day was. They called their people, and we had R&R and R&S and this and this and whatever. We had.
Who coordinated that?
They did.
yeah, they do.
But
So
you
do
got
you-
the bill from Colorado, not
But-
from the trucker.
Yeah, so our bill was all-inclusive, delivered, I mean, according to
Right.
the bid price.
So do you think, I guess that's my question, and I don't know, maybe it's my lack of knowledge. Do you think if we were to separate the two and get bids, or go out for bids on the hauling, would the material vendors still do that coordination, or is that something we would
The
have to
problem
do?
you're gonna run into with the trucking company, which we've done in the past, is they're gonna go take care of who they get a job with every day.
Yeah.
And we use them once or twice a month or once or twice a week. They're gonna go work for Colorado Material, Brontech, or
Atascosa
Addis
or
Coast, or
whoever.
whoever's gonna get them the most
Right.
money.
Right.
You may get one or two trucks, but if you need major truck, you're not gonna get it. I can promise you that,
It happens that way right now.
you know,
So,
and it just don't happen. We've had that before. And it's, you're gonna have to get it with the freight and the material. Cause like I say, you're dealing with those big suppliers. They got all the trucking companies, big trucking companies already on the contract. That's hauling for them. You know, you don't have very few independent truckers around the area around here that want to bid. You know, they have one or two trucks or three trucks. Like we used to have. We used to have a bunch of them around here, used to do it. Nowadays, they don't do it.
And nobody wants to work anymore.
No. So that's a big issue you get.
like I said, we were just trying to save some money and not lock ourselves into a 12-month contract if diesel went down, but it doesn't look like it's gonna go down enough to affect, like, I guess our most expensive product we got is with y'all, the CRS-2. And it's gone up exponentially since last year.
Since last year it did, it went up $1, close to it anyway.
So,
Yep.
To answer your question, yes, nobody wants to haul. There's a lot of one or two truck independents, but we have put on a fleet ourselves to take care of that problem. So, service wasn't counted.
How many trucks are you running now? Or five, okay.
And I'll buy more if need be.
I mean,
you're a brave man.
yeah.
We're under half the time, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I got a Peterbilt for sale, you wanna buy it?
You got anybody in them? Can you drive them?
We're finding that we're getting a bunch of good drivers because they don't want to travel into San Antonio anymore. They'd rather just live around here and drive here, so.
I mean, we can bid it however y'all want.
Like I said, this was all because of the fuel prices
I know.
doing a huge increase, and
I'm going back to thinking we need to change this.
we were just trying to see if it'd be fair both ways, more fair for us and more fair for the vendors, where if the fuel went up, y'all would benefit, if it went down, we'd benefit, but nobody seems to be
Right,
interested
I know, but
in
we can send down.
doing that. I'd hate to lock myself in a 12-year contract knowing that the fuel prices are as unstable as they are.
Yeah, true, but it does become, if all the counties and cities and everything did that, the paperwork on our end would just be,
I got you.
because we, like I said, we're statewide, so we cover a lot. Yeah, we do have competition, but majority of the state, we have 5 asphalt plants, 6 asphalt plants throughout the state, just in Texas, that we handle, and what is there, 250-something counties, and then to all the cities.
Well, y'all are the closest to us, right?
Right.
Here, Pleasanton.
That's correct. Right. Our competition is mainly like in Houston area that we really just let them pretty much have. And then our other competition is up in Brownwood, which is right asphalt, and they basically stay in their vicinity. And we have the interstate pretty much from Corpus. We have a plant in Corpus, Pleasanton, Austin, Temple, Saginaw, Mount Pleasant, which is northeast Texas. So we pretty much cover the interstate all the way out to El Paso.
Okay. Well, then maybe we'll
Did you mention, I'm sorry, sir, did you mention that you provide hauling services in addition to material, or were you talking strictly just for your material purchases?
But
Okay.
we have a yard that we store it in, and then we can go straight from the pit to the location also. We have a contract with, the city right now, they do the same, we can either go straight to the pit, if they need 50 or 60 yards, they go and pick it up, and get that little job done, and go that route.
maybe we'll just stay with the 12-month bid like we were doing before. It doesn't seem like
It's not, yeah, it's not gonna do anything for us, but we can. I mean, that's what we were just talking about. Because the reality is unless you're gonna separate them, you're probably not gonna gain any advantage over any period. The longer the bid period, the more the risk, the more they're gonna say, well, it might go to this, so that's what my bid is, you know? And I don't blame them. They're in business. They ain't gonna stay in business if they don't make any money.
Or you could write it to where is it fuel, you can just pre-write in your contract that y'all execute that if fuel drops to X, y'all gotta rework the number, but you still continue to whatever you contracted with, because that would be fair on both ends.
I mean, and that's what we tried to do.
We tried to do that I know y'all missed this bid cycle, but that's what we tried to do. And everybody just said, no, we can't do that. And I don't really understand why, or they didn't want to, or whatever the answer is, but I agree with you. But we could take a different point the thing is, it just makes it more complicated. Because you could tell them to they have to put in their bid what they bid their fuel price on. And then if it changes more than whatever number, 4%, 5%, or whatever, then they can come to us and adjust the fuel price. But one vendor we talked to said, well, I can't do that in my accounting system. I'm like, well, maybe you should get another accounting system, you know? And none of the other vendors gave us any feedback. And obviously they don't care because they're not here, but that's all we're trying to do. This is an exploratory session to try to figure out how we can make it a win-win for everybody, that you're not sucking up all this increased fuel cost, and then when the price drops, but we're still paying for diesel at $4 or $5 a gallon. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Did anyone call any of the other counties just kind of see what they're doing, how they're bidding, or what,
We haven't yet.
are they just taking it, whatever they get in bids and going with it, or?
I know from discussion with other auditors in a few months back when the prices were skyrocketing, a lot of counties were coming into that issue where, like he mentioned, they were under contract for X dollar amount, and because it's a county contract, the county couldn't change the
more,
pricing,
right.
pay more because of the state of the economy, which hurt a lot of the vendors. And that was just, there were questions going back, can we go back out for bid again in the middle of the year? And most of them didn't. Most of them just said, unfortunately, it is what it is, and it's unfortunate, but thankfully, we didn't have any of our vendors ask or let us know otherwise this last year.
And like on some, like on renewal this year, we had to send in justification on, we're willing to renew if Caddo basically, had to go out for rebid, on the ones that were already set for renewal.
What do you charge? When, like, if I wanted to hire you just to go haul material, you charge by the mile, so much a ton? Or-
Ton per mile.
Okay, so what do you charge, basically, like if you got a haul from New Braunfels to Poth or,
It's right around 1380 right now.
a ton?
Now, that's just, fuel went down to 430. That's based on last week.
Well, it'd be roughly $350 a load from New Braunfels to here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's I think it's 380, 320, what it was.
Well, I figured at 25 tons, it'd be $345. Y'all haul about, what, 24, 25 tons?
Yes.
Roughly?
Yeah, that was last week, is what it was last week. Like I said, we reset every 2 weeks just because we're trying to be, you know, we're trying to be there a long time, not just when you're wondering, so.
What do y'all want to do? Go back to the 12-month bid like we were doing before? I guess we can't do it this year, but we'll have to.
Well, the way that we have it set up, they're bidding for 9 months to the end of the fiscal year right now.
The bid packets have already gone out. Last Wednesday was the date, with the 9-month period through September 30th.
Do all of the counties end their fiscal year the same as us, or are they staggered? Do they end
Not all counties,
September?
Atascosa goes by the,
January, some
Calendar
go
year.
calendar year,
Calendar.
some go September or October to September.
Very. I didn't know if we were,
Majority is probably their fiscal year is October 20. But there are some that are a little bit.
do the calendar year. I guess let's just bid it at 9 months now.
Move forward with it and
The next
then use these
year, go back to the 12-month bid on it.
to really figure out a plan. Because
You don't know if you don't try. We were just seeing if there was a possibility to save money if fuel went down, or if it goes up, it would benefit the vendors also.
they don't have to sign an addendum, and we can put in our bid packet, this is what you will do. You submit your pricing, and this is part of the. Some may read it, some may not. It's too late to do it now, though, because we've already posted it.
Yeah, because we need to look at who's providing a base material cost. Because I mean, I know Commissioner Perdola goes, he picks a lot, but he's got the shortest trip of any of us to get to New Braunfels. So he goes and picks up
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, I pick up a lot of my own material. Utilize those new trucks we got. When I can.
But you get it
To put a lot of
kind of there locally, right? Instead of New Braunfels, you don't go all the way to New Braunfels, do you?
Yes,
Oh, you do?
yes. Yeah, because when they get to Stockdale, they've already put like $11 a ton on it to Old Cats. So it's cheaper for me to go to New Braunfels and get it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, does anybody else have any other questions? I don't. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all taking the time to,
Thank y'all very
Yeah,
much
go-
for taking the time to come.
For y'all's benefit and for the company's benefit, if there was some kind of, a check system somewhere along the way every 30 days, just so you're not overpaying and we don't get stuck with supplying product where we're running in the negative every time we're running, there has to be because Elon Musk just put out that they completed their first 500-mile trip with an electrical truck. Well, you know what that's gonna do to the diesel. It's not gonna let it deplete. So it's just gonna be, I've just always done a checks and balances along the way, and it's not that hard. I mean, if you're paying me $20 a ton, but if you have 450 fuel, the fuel drops to 375, that should be reallocated and done.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to figure out how to do that and stay within the requirements that we have to comply with the bidding rules and regulations. And
The
that's,
only thing we don't have control of is what Brontex and
right,
Colorado would sell it at.
right. And we have no, I mean, generally speaking, we have no problem getting those prices.
Some of our products that got oil bases mixed with it has gone up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But just the base itself,
Yeah, your hot mixed cold lay's going up, doubled in
Black
price.
yeah. Anything that got oil, any kind of oil product mixed with it.
Man, I tell you, well, I mean, it was ridiculous.
It was.
Because it hit us just as bad. I mean, it really, because when you're sitting here, like I said earlier, you're bidding out $4.20 a ton asphalt prices. And then March comes and it jumps to 500. Then June comes and it's at 650. And then August comes, it's at 700. I mean, it's hurting, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's just, like the city of Austin, just for example, they put out bids in August, and we bid it at $420 a ton. So we go through all that summer, we can't increase by any means, and then they locked in on a 5-year contract with them. And it came back around August, and they were asking about renewal, and I said, yes, if we can go to these prices, right? Which it actually was like 29% increase from where we were at. And basically, I had to write a letter and all that saying, no, we can't do that. I said, well, we'll go out for rebid then if we have to, but they didn't want to do that either. I said, these are not normal. Check the pricing around or whatever, they did their homework as well, and then they come back and say, yeah, we go ahead and increase it. It is one of those things, anything that has petroleum products in it right now is through the roof.
Yep.
Well, it's probably gonna be that way for a while.
I don't see it changing.
Not until we can,
Not a drastic change anyway.
not until we can get production back the way it was.
Yep.
Yeah, but we have to do another bid package. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody else?
Just rebid it for the 9 months and then
Yeah, I mean,
back
then that's, yeah.
12-month bid.
If we can figure out some other things to do in here, we'll send it out plenty early. Probably have a mandatory pre-bid next time. And so all those questions can be answered and everybody understands.
We're in uncharted territory,
I think if we just work on rewording our bid packet, kind of really fine tuning it to be more specific for the next bid period, you could probably run a lot smoother and get a lot of questions
I think there's a lot of things that we can do. It's just, we've had pushback on doing that. And yeah, we probably just need to tighten it up a lot
Yeah.
more. And,
But right now, they can bid just material, and they can bid
material plus all,
plus hauling.
yes.
Most of them are bidding that now, aren't they?
The problem is, you don't have no independent truckers giving you,
Right now, we don't have
Any.
independent hauler.
no.
They're all,
material.
Well, I'll tell you what we can do, is we could send out another bid package for hauling for whatever period we want to, separate from this. It's not, I mean, because if whoever,
We're gonna get
Brontex
material-only
or,
pricing
yeah,
anyway.
we send our own trucks, we can, it's no different than like Jeff does, he drives up there and gets it himself. We just tell him, hey, we're sending 10 trucks today, and, the problem is, when they call the trucks, and they tell them what time to be there, and they're there, or they don't get called back again. But we've all run into problems where you call them and said, yeah, we'll be there at 9, and they don't show up till 11. Or like me, I told them, I said, don't send a truck after 1:30 because nobody's going to be there. And I get a call at 6 o'clock at night, the guy's stuck on the job. I mean, okay, well, good luck, because we're not coming out on overtime to pull somebody out. And so all that risk and all those problems are on them when you're paying them to do it all. It's like Paul said, you just pick up the phone, call them, say, hey, I need 10 trucks on this road tomorrow, or whatever you schedule it for, and you're done. That's all you have to worry about. Otherwise, we're gonna have to be worrying about, well, I gotta call Joe from this company or that or whoever to figure out, where's your trucks? Have y'all been to the yard? And then, of course, like I said, when they're doing all the hauling, their guys are gonna get priority, and then our truck's coming in, and he's gonna have to get in line or wait until they say they're ready to load him. So it could, potentially cause some problems there. So, I mean, it's just a nasty situation, compounded by, the fact that nobody wants to work or drive. I mean, that's just a problem, period. It's not just here, it's everywhere.
Most of your independents are already contracted with this.
That's exactly, and they're gonna go who pays them the most money. Yes.
And so that was, and like we said before, that was our concern was, would these people, if we did a separate hauling bid, would these companies put in a bid because they're already doing work with those?
Even if they made a little bit with you, they're gonna get that, they're gonna make that everyday money from Ron-Tex or whoever. They know they can count
A
on that.
big supplier, they're gonna be making that money every day.
'Cause
They
they're-
know,
Yeah, they're gonna have 100 or 150 or 200
Yes.
trucks every day. We might do that many in 3 months between the four of us. I mean, unless you get a guy that's local, that's looking to do something here, or you get,
And that's,
yeah.
and so that's who we were getting for our hauling was local companies.
and they no longer exist. You're the only one, I didn't know you had 5 trucks,
One
but,
reached out to me.
huh?
One reached out to me, and I think they're probably gonna bid again, but we would have 2 then.
But we used to have 4 or 5.
A lot of them are falling out, insurance is.
Yeah, and the insurance, the cost of everything, couldn't get no drivers, just everything piled up and,
The way they get drivers nowadays, trying to get somebody in CDLs now, like,
yes,
they used to be using.
no.
I'll tell you a quick story. BFS, the lumber supply yard in San Antonio, which is a national chain, is offering a $30,000 sign-on, 15 when you sign on, 15 in 6
on where
weeks.
they were
They
going.
they have 22 trucks to run, and they are running 12 to 13 every day.
I believe it. Yep,
Give them 30,000 to show up.
that's what I say, it's a losing battle. And it affects the counties, because you can't just, okay, we're gonna pay it, you don't have the money to,
Well, one of the conversations that we might have would be to team with Carnes and Atascosa or whatever on bidding, so that there's more volume there. We could do an interlocal agreement to bid material and trucking and/or trucking or whatever. That's a conversation we might want to have. Because, I mean, let's face it, we're small potatoes. It's like you said, we're not a hunter contractor, or I don't even know who's in business anymore. They keep going out of business. I mean, we're just small potatoes, so we don't get priority, we don't get the best pricing, we don't get any of that stuff.
I do have one final question. I haven't read all the way through everything. Do you have to bid the entire package, or can you just bid?
whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to
No,
bid
no,
the asphalt. But no, you can bid whatever you want. Good. I'm good. Well, I guess we'll stick with the 9 months for now, and then we'll
As-
work on it and
yeah,
figure it out through the,
As is.
Y'all have my phone number now, so if y'all need anything, have any questions about it.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for coming.
All right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank y'all very much for taking the time to show up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it
Appreciate it.
very much.
Oh, yes. Can he see the signage? He wants to make sure you put the, oh,
Dig the holes for the plants, huh?
What's that?
He's the one's gonna dig the holes for the plants. 180.
Oh, that's where, I was like, why does that sound?
He was here. For the record, Commissioner Precinct 4 Larry Wiley did not make the 11 a.m. pre-bid material vendor meeting. How come we got a different number here than what, if you add 12,000 to?
Because we didn't have to add the 12,000, there were already some John's Oil invoices in here.
It's in there?
Yeah, there were some already in here, so we just added the difference of the new ones that they sent.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
that's
that
why
was
it's a
still
lower- that's
like
why it's a lower-
$9,000
Yes,
worth,
sir.
or 8,000 something?
8,000, whatever that first number was that I gave
Do
you.
we need to,
What was it? Let me write it on here. What was the 8,000? You have it, Gary?
oh, no, I don't have it.
No.
The new dollar amount, was 8,000. Oh, she has a computer, hang on a second.
For the, it was 12,000, but Amanda already has some of those input in there.
And we didn't, yeah, there were some already, I looked at the old report, there were some Johns already under some of the precincts.
Yeah, I don't think I had any, but I noticed, I think he had,
Yeah.
or somebody had, or maybe I had one and they didn't have any, I don't know, but anyway.
We'll have to get Larry to come in and sign that.
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Good, good.
Interesting.
I was just showing the sheriff, some pictures.
Pay the heating bill?
We have a contractor that is putting under.
And let me ask you this. Could we, or could y'all,
I looked them up, I found.
just bid the jobs that are gonna go over $50,000?
It was, the difference was $8,499.25.
$8,499?
Changed
Yes, and 25 cents. So the total amount of bills being paid is
open bucket with used motor oil,
210,073.
all their trash in the county right away,
0.39.
and it happens to be right in front of my son's house.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give them the
So what
opportunity,
was the question, I'm sorry?
Could
maybe get with Tom, or I didn't know if.
you bid just the jobs that are gonna go over $50,000?
How do we know that?
Like if you're gonna do a job out here on 104 or 105 or something like that, and it's just gonna be so many loads of base material, and it's not gonna be that $50,000. And then, I'll say, then you're gonna pave or repair the pavement on another one that's gonna go over $50,000. Bid that job.
And then they do something like this.
The
What's
problem
that?
is, you may have, like precinct 1, worked on 104 and did $30,000 worth of work. Then you got precinct 2 that may be $20,000 worth of work, so that's $50,000. The county's
That's
paying.
different jobs.
But I thought
But
it's what the county
It's not on
pays.
the per
But it's
job.
by the, it's the material. that
Material,
we're
it's not per job.
purchasing From the same vendor, yeah.
It's not per job.
No, it's per material.
Way up compared to what
George, are you still in session?
What's that?
Are you still in session?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're still in the meeting.
Oh, and it's,
It's just the vendors left.
I mean, that
Because
was the
and
problem
mean,
I understood at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe in all the classes I've been to, that's the expectation from the state, is that if any purchase totals more than $50,000 for the same thing, it doesn't matter if it's
That is correct.
one commissioner or all four. If it goes over $50,000, then you have to have bid that prior to that purchase.
That is-
The only thing that we were advised before was you can start using, beginning of fiscal year, you can start using the material, but once you hit 50,000, you have to stop and you have to go out for bid.
Not precinct, but the county.
Countywide, yeah.
So you don't bid jobs. You can't bid jobs. I
Well,
can
you
say you
can,
don't.
you
can.
You
can,
can't bid jobs.
if you're gonna hire a contractor, but if you're doing it with our forces, then all we have to do is go buy the material.
And you kind of go get prices on material before you do a job.
Yeah, so you would know, but yeah, the thing is that means that they would have to set up some way to monitor when and the thing is those bills, sometimes they take 2 days, sometimes they take 2 weeks to come in. So if I didn't know he was doing a job and he went out and spent $49,000 and I went out and wanted to buy one truckload that cost $1,200, then I'd.
So what I'm talking about is your job out on 104 and his job out on 225 are two different jobs.
Yeah.
But it's.
Well, we're using
But
the
you're
same
buying from the
material.
for
same
one-
material. You're buying from the same vendor. If you're buying from the same vendor, yeah, and it exceeds 50,000.
Okay, so much for this.
Hang
Our
on,
vendors' meeting is over and Commissioners
Judge.
Court is adjourned at
Judge.
11:51.
Kristen has one more question.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, like, how many guys y'all have working, but, I mean, to eliminate the freight, y'all couldn't have an employee go pick up, or is
Well,
that
Jeff
not-
does.
I do, I pick up most of
But
all
Jeff's-
my
Jeff's
material.
closer.
I've never hired an outside vendor to haul my material.
Yeah.
I've always picked my own
It
material
would be
up with
better
county-
if we had
county trucks.
bigger trucks.
I mean, so there's no
That's
way
kind of what our
eliminate
question is, I
all
think,
that.
is at some point in
Right.
time.
But see, then that takes
does it
time.
not
I mean,
make it to
I'd have
where
to sit
you
down and
have
figure
your
out
own
what it
truck?
costs me
You
a
start
yard to go
hauling
pick
your
it
own,
up.
And all I'm paying for is
Because
diesel.
I gotta pay for the fuel, and I gotta pay,
All I'm paying is whatever the diesel cost is and whatever they told me the
That's why I
stuff was
use all-
going.
well, but see, right now, we just have the 10-yard dump truck, so I have to send 2 trucks for every one 20-yard truck they send me.
So I think that's what the
Exactly
sheriff
what
is
y'all at.
saying, that if we
Sitting out.
invested
Yeah.
in
He's willing to do exactly what y'all can't get bid. He's willing to sit there and work the surcharge on a monthly basis. That, he's wanting to do it, but at some point in time, if y'all are hauling that much material, it may actually be better to hire the drivers and buy the trucks and haul your own and just bid material. And the only thing you can't, well, you could then, you can get a tank truck and haul that stuff too. You can bring the liquid, the emulsion and stuff if you want. You don't have to have them haul it.
But the
But
hauling, the
where,
hauling
what is
is
the
not
break
the
even?
big expense
What is,
on
on
that.
that it's not,
It's
but.
the oil.
But
That's
if
the
you got the
expense.
trucks, what's the
Yeah.
big deal?
Several
But you
years
gotta
ago,
find out
it was
where-
cheaper to
where's that
hire
breakover point.
independent-
And y'all may be getting to it. Y'all may be getting to that breakover point that you need to haul your own material.
You're,
Well, it's
you're
cheaper
probably
for me-
right.
It's cheaper for me to send the county trucks that we own. We got employees on the payroll. Cheaper for me to send them over there to pick the material up than pay the $11 and something a ton additional. It's just, it's a hassle. I mean, you just
But-
gotta schedule it
see,
and figure out.
Paul's
But if you have
got
dedicated,
at least another hour of personnel time to make that same trip.
I understand.
Still, it may actually, at his hourly rate, it may still be cheaper to go haul it yourself than to pay somebody else to bring it.
It's definitely cheaper for me to haul my own material
Yeah.
from where I'm.
You, and maybe Larry.
Because some of my stuff is in northern Wilson County, close to the Bear County line, so I'm closer than any of the rest of the.
Turnaround time and all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you get much from Jim's?
No, because they put the hauling, to pick it up in Lavernia, it costs me more than I can go to Brontex and pick it up for. Same thing if you pick it up at Polecats from Brontex,
They're gonna charge a freight from what
they
they haul
tack like
over
a
there.
$15 a ton freight charge on it.
Yeah, which you could call them and get it delivered at our current bid price, almost that cheap.
Yeah. So I can go over there and pick it up for $5 a ton, where it's $15 a ton at Polecats. Well, it doesn't cost me $10 a ton to run a truck to Brontex. So,
Okay.
business, we need our own
Yep.
truck.
We tried, but we couldn't do it.
well, you don't know if you don't try.
Yeah.
You know? You don't know if you
I
don't
think
try.
it's a good
Just-
idea
Are
to
we
see what
adjourned at
that
what
new
time,
guy,
Judge?
Oh,
new
sure.
guy's gonna do.
He's got 5 trucks and he can haul it.
Adjourn.
Yeah, I actually, yeah, did you re-adjourn, Judge?
Time for adjournment?